Look, I'm not trying to tell you how to live your life or pretend I have all the answers mapped out, but I do want to let you in on a little secret about life. Something I think most of us are too distracted to notice until we actually cross the finish line into retirement. It's a massive psychological shift that is incredibly powerful, yet completely overlooked by the mainstream world. And honestly, it took me nearly 3 years of being retired to fully connect the dots and grasp just how important it is. Now, my name is Reese Will, and welcome to Retired Life with Reese Will. And for me, life really did begin at 55. Now, think about what society sells us from the time we enter the workforce. We, we're conditioned to believe that retirement is the prize at the end of the maze, completely defined by external activities. The brochure shows you a couple of luxury cruises, people playing endless rounds of golf, traveling the world, or finally getting around to painting that dusty spare bedroom. We buy into the idea that happiness is just waiting for us in the form of consumer goods or a packed travel itinerary. And look, don't get me wrong, all of that stuff is perfectly fine if that's what you generally want, if that's what you really want to do. But after 3 years of living this life, I've realized we've been completely seduced by a massive lie. We've been brainwashed into thinking that the more we accumulate, the more wealth, the higher the status. The busier the schedule, the happier we'll be. But how wrong we've been. The single greatest gift of retirement is far simpler than money or perceived importance. And the best part about it, it doesn't cost a single penny. It's the incredibly liberating truth that you no longer have to spend your entire time on this earth surrounded by people you don't actually like. When you really break it down, the vast majority of our adult life are spent trapped inside giant institutional systems that force human interaction on us, whether we want it or not. Think about the sheer volume of energy that gets chewed up with the fake smiles and the daily grind of survival. Think about the people who manage to completely drain your mental battery before you even had a chance to finish your first morning coffee. It's a slow burning, chronic kind of stress at its absolute worst. It slowly tears away your mental being. A huge percentage of modern adult life is built entirely around tolerating people. You spend decades being polite to individuals you would never voluntarily invite into your personal life. People that gossip, people who are toxic, or people who literally just make noise because the sound of silence, terrifies them. You're forced to deal with attention seekers, chronic complainers, and people who are just plain unpleasant to be around. And you sit there in those office chairs or break rooms day after day, sorting to yourself and thinking, if I didn't work for this company, I wouldn't spend 5 minutes in your presence. But you swallow it because you have to pay bills, you got a mortgage, and kids need clothes, uniforms. You compromise your internal peace for physical survival. For most of the world, that's the adulthood. Reclaiming your time and peace. Retirement completely breaks that cycle, but it doesn't happen the moment you retire or the moment they give you that gold watch. It can actually take a long time to shake off those deeply ingrained habits of the corporate compliance. But when the penny finally drops, it hits you like a tidal wave. Your time belongs entirely to you again, not to an organization, not to a boss, not to a shift roster or endless calendar or performance review. You wake up in the morning and there isn't a single soul on the planet assessing your value or demanding that you prove yourself. Nobody is telling you that you need to be a better team player to be considered an effective human being. No more arbitrary targets and absolutely no mandatory team building exercises, no more forced fun, and no more pretending. This is exactly where the concept of solitude comes into play, and it's something society completely misunderstands. When the average person hears the word solitude, their mind immediately jumps to loneliness or sadness. But solitude and loneliness are entirely different animals. Loneliness is a painful, isolating condition, and solitude, on the other hand, is an active choice to prioritize peace over useless noise. And when you choose peace, genuine contentment naturally follows. Think about how heavily modern society relies on the concept of approval. From childhood through our careers, we pretty much train to constantly seek permission. Fully grown, capable adults have to discreetly approach another adult just to ask for their to be allowed to take a week off to go to the Bahamas with their family. Can I please book these days off? As if your very existence belongs to a company. Retirement tears that system down. If you want to pack a bag and go somewhere on Tuesday afternoon, I just do it. If I want to spend an entire Thursday lounging around on my sofa, that's exactly what I'm going to do. You are the sole earner of your time again. The subservient is officially over. You notice the transition mostly clearly in your relationships. Freedom is an uncanny way of acting like a filter, exposing which one of your friendships were entirely genuine and which one were simply based on accidental, just happen to be in that proximity. A bunch of your workplace friendships will simply evaporate the moment you walk out that door for the last time. And honestly, that is not a bad thing. Shared suffering under a bad management team creates strong, temporary bonds, but real, authentic friendships easily survive distance and long stretches of silence. The older, the older you get, the less patience you have for superficial, high maintenance relationships. If someone constantly drains you, they simply don't get access to your time anymore. You stop chasing acceptance from social circles that don't matter. There's a beautiful, quiet confidence in being able to look at an invitation and say, no, no, thank you. I'd actually prefer to stay home and completely mean it. You aren't saying it out of bitterness. You're saying it because your internal peace has become more valuable to you than any social circle or obligation. Sometimes the absolute healthiest thing a human being can do for their soul is to slow down the world around them just enough so they can actually hear their own internal voice again. Retirement gave me the explicit permission to do exactly that. Permission from myself is the total freedom from unnecessary people. Constant internal judgment and pretending to be someone you aren't is simply waking up each morning, looking at the day ahead, and asking yourself, how do I want to spend my life today? That, my friends, is retirement at its absolute best. Thank you for spending the time with me. If this resonated with you, let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Take care of yourselves, protect your peace, and I'll catch you all on the next video. And remember, don't chase peace, live it.